This one is an easy lecture. Here we do the radar chart. Let's first try this with a single measure, which is sales, and then we will try to do this with two measures, sales and profit. Let's go to change chart type and select the radar chart. Now think of a radar chart as nothing but a column or a bar chart which has been folded. This means, in fact, I did not want to select the entire data, so I'll just make sure I've selected only sales. So if you notice, we have all the five subcategories that are enveloped around this entire axis. And then the 0 to 500, which is my axis, is not just an axis for accessories, it's an accessory axis, it's a appliance axis, and so on and so forth. Which means that the 0 to 500 is running here, it is running here, and you get the idea, right? So it is running in a 360-degree manner, which means that every single subcategory has the same axis. What do all these grid lines represent? They are representing a different point. For example, we have 0 in the center. This is 100, 200, 300, 400, and 500. Obviously, you can increase and decrease it. Now, why would you want to use this particular type of a chart? Lots of reasons. Sometimes when you have survey data, you might want to compare all the subcategories against each other, and it makes sense to present the data like this. Let me just do that once again. Select a radar chart. Okay. For some reason, this dialog box can't be hidden. So if it's okay with you, I'll simply close the file and reopen it. Excellent. So we have the radar chart, and if you notice, we can also select the profit measure, and now we have two different lines that can be seen here. And we can also compare the sales and profit. If we go to change chart type, we have another option called radar with markers. And then finally, we have a filled radar that looks like this. Do remember, when you're using the filled radar, you might want to select this and then make sure that the fill color has a transparency, because if you don't do that, you will not be able to see the value behind. So usually what I do is I will go to fill and let me just select my fill color, and let's increase the transparency like this. Okay, I don't think I selected that properly. Let's do that once again. So I double click, I go to fill, and then we have an option only for the line. Let me see how we can change the color inside. Let's go to format and shape fill and then select more fill colors, and let's increase the transparency here. I think that should work. Wonderful. So we can do the same thing here. We can go to format, shape fill, we go to more fill colors, and we can increase the transparency. And let's choose a slightly different color. Maybe we can choose a green color like this. Excellent. So we get a visual like this. Again, when should you be working with a radar chart? I would not be able to answer that question, but radar charts are very commonly used, especially when you want to compare two values, maybe last year, this year, sales versus target, sales and profit. If you do a Google search, you will see that radar chart is a very common chart and is used exactly in the manner that I showed it to you. Obviously, it's not limited to only two lines. You can keep multiple lines as well. So if we hop over back to our Excel file, let's simply select the data that we had earlier. So we'll choose our data with 4 quarters in it. Let me come back and paste it here. Let's select this data and see how we can create a radar chart. Now this is how a regular clustered column would look. But when I convert this into a radar chart, we will get a radar chart with 4 different lines in it. And every line here is representing a different quarter, right? Like this. Again, like I said, How to use it, I have explained to you. When to use it, you will have to be judicious and see whether it fits your data set or not. Sometimes the answer is not that obvious. Sometimes by looking at a data set, you don't know for sure which chart would be appropriate. And that is when you have to do a little bit of hit and trial, try out different combinations to see which one you like the best.